Someone prayed for you. Someone quietly placed your name before God. While you dealt with your pain, while you thought you were alone, someone believed for you. They asked for you. They pleaded for you to find a way, for something to change, for your life to breathe again. You may not even know who it was. You might not even imagine the exact moment it happened. But it did happen. Someone closed their eyes and spoke your name. They said your name with faith, wishing for your protection, hoping you would find strength, longing for you to feel hope again. And you felt it, didn't you? At some point, when you thought about giving up, something made you continue. It could have been a thought, a memory, a feeling that came out of nowhere, but it didn't come from nowhere. Now let me ask you, does that make sense to you? Have you ever felt that invisible care? Did you notice that even on your worst days, something held you up? You haven't made it this far on your own, and whether you like it or not, someone has loved you in silence enough to pray for you. And now what will you do with this? You haven't made it this far on your own. And whether you like it or not, someone has loved you in silence enough to pray for you. Does that bother you, comfort you, or does it make you think of everything you didn't notice before? Because here's the truth. There are things that happen in your life that you don't know where they came from. There are moments when you feel relief without understanding why. And there are pains that seemed unbearable, but somehow were eased, and you never knew exactly how that happened. But now you do. Someone cared enough to speak your name when no one was listening, to place your pain in God's hands without you asking, to wish for your well-being without expecting anything in return, and that changes everything. Because if someone has ever had faith in you, if they believed you deserved something better, then why aren't you doing that for yourself now? Why do you continue to treat yourself as if you are less than someone worthy of care? Why do you still allow yourself to doubt your own journey? You have no idea how much you have already been loved without realizing it, how much you have been protected without noticing, how often you have been in someone's thoughts, even when you felt forgotten. This means your life has value, that you matter, that there is something greater supporting you, even on the days you feel like you are about to collapse. You may not see it. You may continue to try to find explanations for what you feel. But at some point you need to accept you have never been completely alone. And now, knowing this, what will you do? Will you keep living as if nothing has happened, as if your existence hasn't been touched by this energy? Or will you start to act differently? Will you begin to look at yourself with more respect, with more affection? Will you stop treating yourself as if your life has no purpose? Because if someone has already believed in you, maybe it's time for you to start believing too. And it doesn't have to be all at once. You don't need to have all the answers right now. But you need to take the first step. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and acknowledge you were remembered. You were protected. And no matter how much you may have doubted, there has always been a purpose for you. So now tell me, are you ready to accept this? Or will you continue to deny what has always been around you? You can deny it. You can try to ignore it. You can keep thinking that everything has always been about luck, chance, coincidence. But was it really? Was that all that brought you here? Because if you're truly honest with yourself, you know it wasn't. How many times have you been on the verge of collapsing, only to find a strength you didn't know you had? How many times did you think you couldn't go on, but you pushed through anyway? How many times did you feel lost, trapped, and then something or someone showed up just in time? What if I told you that none of this was by chance? That while you felt forgotten, someone was interceding for you? It might be that you'll never know who it was. It could be someone you've lost touch with, or someone you never imagined would think of you in that way. But it was someone who, without you knowing, placed your life before God. And that's what kept you standing. Now take a moment and think. Have you ever done this for someone? Have you ever looked at someone, even without that person knowing, and asked for their protection? Have you ever wished with all your heart that someone would find peace, love, and hope? If you have, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know it's not just a random thought. It's not just a wish cast to the wind. When you pray for someone, when you place that person in God's hands, something happens. You may not see it, you may not know when, you might not even know if that person felt it. But it happens. And if you've never done it, then why not start now? If someone has done this for you, why not continue that cycle? Why not take that energy you received, that protection that somehow reached you, and pass it on? It doesn't have to be anything big, nothing difficult. You don't need fancy words, nor do you need to know exactly how to do it. Just close your eyes and feel. Just remember someone who at this moment might need it just as much as you once did. And ask. Ask that this person finds strength, that they receive an answer, that they feel they are not alone, because deep down that's what everyone needs. Everyone has felt alone at some point. Everyone has wondered if anyone truly cares. Everyone has carried a weight that felt impossible to bear. And that's why when someone prays for you, when someone speaks your name with faith, it holds so much power, because it's a reminder that you are not alone. You never have been. Now tell me, what are you going to do with this? Are you going to ignore it and move on as if nothing happened? Are you going to continue thinking you're on your own? Or are you going to accept it? Accept that you have been remembered, that you have been protected, that you have been loved, even when you thought no one cared. And more than that, will you allow yourself to be that person for someone else? Because if you are here today, if you received this message, it's not by chance. Maybe this is your answer. Maybe this is the confirmation that yes, someone interceded for you. And now it's your turn. Your turn to believe, to act, to do for someone what was once done for you. So I ask you one last time, will you ignore this? Or will you accept what was destined for you? You can pretend this means nothing. You can continue living as if it's just another day, just another random message, just another fleeting thought. But deep down, something in you feels that this is different, that it has affected you in a way you didn't expect. Because this is not just any message, it was written for you. You can ignore it, you can pretend it didn't impact you. But what happens when you're alone? When you lay your head on the pillow and feel that emptiness that no one sees? When you look in the mirror and try to convince yourself that everything is fine, even though you know it's not. No one sees everything you feel. No one completely understands what goes on inside you. But that doesn't mean no one cares. And most importantly, it doesn't mean you don't have a purpose. Someone has seen something in you that you may have forgotten about yourself. Someone believed that you deserve more. Someone prayed from the bottom of their heart for you to have the strength to keep going. And now you are here, reading this, feeling this. It's not a coincidence. You need to understand this once and for all. Your life matters. You matter. Even when you don't see a way out. Even when you feel like nothing makes sense. Even when you carry pains that seem unbearable. Someone prayed for you. Someone asked for you to have a fresh start, to find answers, to see a sign. And if that sign is this message, if now is the time for you to decide that you will no longer live as if your existence were an accident, because it isn't. You have been through tough times before. You've thought you wouldn't make it, but you are here. Doesn't that mean anything to you? You need to stop treating yourself as if your life is small, as if what you feel doesn't matter. You need to stop diminishing yourself, thinking you don't deserve more. Because you do deserve more. If someone has already believed for you, if someone has put your name before God without you knowing, then why haven't you done that for yourself yet? Why do you still fill yourself with doubts, insecurities, and fear? You don't need to have all the answers right now. You don't need to know exactly what to do from here. But you do need to take the first step. You need to look inside and accept that you are not alone. You never have been. Maybe you've distanced yourself, gotten lost, spent too much time thinking you had to carry everything on your own. But it doesn't have to be that way. The same God who heard that prayer for you, who kept you standing when you thought you couldn't take it anymore, is listening now. And all you need to do is allow it. Allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to believe, allow yourself to receive. Can you do that? Or will you continue insisting that you don't need anyone? Be honest with yourself. You're not here by chance. This message didn't reach you by coincidence. And now that you know this, what are you going to do? Are you going to keep running away? Or will you accept that it's time to open your eyes to everything that has been done for you? You can continue to flee. You can keep pretending that none of this affects you, that this message is just another random text, that it has nothing to do with you. But deep down you know it's not quite like that. You felt it, you know. Something inside you already understands that this message is meant for you. So what will you do now? Will you keep living as if it's just another day? As if your life doesn't have a greater purpose? Because this is the truth you have been avoiding. You have a purpose. Your life has value. It doesn't matter how many times you tried to convince yourself otherwise. It doesn't matter how many times someone made you believe you weren't important. It doesn't matter how much you've been hurt, how many times you've cried in secret, or how small you felt. None of that changes the fact that you are important. And it's not just me saying that. Someone knew this about you long before you did. Someone has seen your pain and prayed for you. This should be enough for you to understand that you're not alone. But do you really understand? Do you really accept it? Or is there still a part of you that insists on thinking you don't deserve it? You deserve it. You've always deserved it. You may not have realized it. You might have spent too much time thinking you were on your own, but you were never truly alone. And now that you know this, what changes? Will you keep ignoring the signs? Will you keep believing your life has no meaning? Or will you decide that enough is enough? Enough of hiding, enough of belittling yourself, enough of carrying it all alone? If someone has believed in you, if someone has asked you to be strong, if someone has placed your name before God, then maybe it's time for you to do the same. Perhaps it's time for you to look inward and acknowledge that you need help, that you need faith, that you need to allow yourself to believe that your story doesn't end here. You still have so much to live. And I know that sometimes it feels hard to believe that. I know there are days when you feel tired, when it seems like no one understands what you carry inside. But you don't have to carry this alone. The same God who heard that prayer for you is listening now. He is hearing every thought, every doubt, every fear, every tear you can no longer hold back. And He is waiting. Waiting for the moment when you decide that you no longer need to fight alone, that you no longer need to feel lost, that you no longer need to convince yourself that you are not enough, because you are. You always have been. And now, knowing this, what will you choose? Will you choose to keep pretending that none of this matters? Will you choose to continue ignoring everything that has already been done for you? Or will you finally choose to accept that yes, you have a purpose, that yes, you deserve more, that yes, you have been remembered, loved, and protected, even when you thought it wasn't possible? The choice has always been yours. But now, after everything you've felt here, after everything this message has made you remember, will you keep running away? Now, the decision is in your hands. You can simply ignore this message, continue living as if nothing has changed, as if these words haven't made you feel something. You can stick to your routine, occupy your mind, and try to convince yourself that this isn't for you. But let me ask you something with all sincerity. Do you really believe that? Because if it were just any text, you would have already moved on to something else. If it was something insignificant, you wouldn't be feeling what you're feeling right now. Something within you already knows that this is real. You can deny it, you can avoid it, you can try to run away. But your soul feels it. It feels that this truth has reached you. It feels that there is something greater calling you to see what has always been there. What will you do with this? Will you go on as if nothing has happened? Or will you choose to look at your own life with a little more attention? Will you choose to believe that it's not a coincidence this message has come to you? Because the truth is this: you are not alone, you never were. You may have felt this many times. You may have gone through moments when you thought no one cared, but that has never been true. There has always been someone. There has always been a force supporting you. And if you are here today, if this message found you, if you have read every word up to this point, then it means something. It means it's time to stop running away. It's time to accept that your life has value, that your existence is not a mistake, that you are loved, that you have been remembered by someone who saw in you something that you may have forgotten. Someone believed for you when you didn't believe. Now, can you do the same? Can you, at least for a moment, look inside and see that you deserve more? That you don't have to keep treating yourself as if your life doesn't matter. You deserve peace, you deserve love, you deserve to feel whole. And it starts with a simple step: acceptance. Accept that there is something greater working for you. Accept that you can indeed find a purpose. Accept that your life is not a series of meaningless coincidences. If you've managed to get this far, don't stop now. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes, feel what this message has awakened in you, and make a decision. Decide that you will no longer hide, that you will no longer diminish yourself, that you will no longer live as if you don't deserve all the good that can come to you. And more than that, decide to give back. If someone has already prayed for you, believed for you, why not do the same? Why not wish well for someone who might also be in need of an answer? If you feel that this message resonated with you in some way, that it brought clarity or an awakening, then share it. Don't keep it to yourself. Comment below about what this message meant to you. Talk to me. I want to know what touched your heart, what made sense in your life. And don't forget, if this message resonated with you, there's someone else who might need to hear it too. So leave your like, subscribe to the channel, because that helps me continue to bring messages that can transform lives. But above all, don't leave here the same way you came in. Don't ignore this call. You are not alone, you never were, and now you know that. So tell me, what will you do from here?